Welcome to Peer Transparency. We're your hosts,
Eagle Bumi.
Anaya Jennings.
Today's episode is brought to you by Ataraxis, a place of unity, peace, and growth. Today's topic is how strong the Royal Ebony people can be when unified. How effective can we be if we worked as one, as an oiled machine? What can we accomplish and what can we do within the community? And is it tangible? I think a lot of people don't think that it's tangible because we have been conditioned to believe that we cannot work together. So now we have somebody like you, Emperor, who has this vision of unifying each other for us, by us, a community that we rely only on our own resources, right? So why
hmm
is it that that people feel as though it's not tangible?
The reason why is, like you said, we've been conditioned to, for one, we've been conditioned to not love ourselves, our skins, our hair, our abilities. You know what I'm saying?
True.
We've been conditioned to not love our women and our men. We've been conditioned to be afraid of
Specifically,
our children.
as
So all this is to drive and keep us apart.
mhm,
So, but the thing about it is, it's not what you've been conditioned to do. It's when you're going to wake up and say, this is not working,
exactly.
you know? So, me being afraid of our women and being like, hey, I don't want to date y'all because y'all problematic. But I have to realize in dating, a Royal Ebony woman that she been through trauma and
Yeah,
sometimes more trauma than I have, you
yeah.
know, and sometimes it's equal trauma. So we have to start when we trying to date each other, when we're just trying to be friends with each other, we need to open up and say, hey, I had a past, that I'm trying to get rid of. And I don't want you to add to that past. And I
Yes,
don't want to add to your past. And we need to be transparent with each other and say, this is what we need to do so we can heal. Because if we heal, it would not affect the new generation that's coming behind us. But if we never heal, it would affect the new generation come behind us because guess what? A lot of us going through the same things our parents went through because they never decided to heal,
it's
you
true.
know.
True.
And when it comes to building something, you know, you have to look at it and say how long you're going to be willing to do without. You
Mm,
struggling paycheck to paycheck each day
mm-hmm.
when it could be easier if you sit up here and say, "Hey, you ain't got no bread. I have bread, but you got peanut butter and jelly. If we come together, we both eat."
That's true.
You know, a lot of people don't think about that. They
Mm,
rather I'm going to eat my bread, you eat your peanut butter and jelly, and I'm fine because I want to be able to say I made it. But what did you make it from? What did you make it?
exactly.
You ain't make nothing. You ain't giving nothing to your children. This goes and say just like if you look at the children nowadays, they're killing each other, younger
True.
and younger ages.
True.
Everybody want it seemed like everybody either want to be an athlete, a rapper, or uh, uh, how can I put it? It's not even a pimp. They just want to be a damn hoe. I call it comfort companion.
Whoremongers.
Yeah,
Whoremongers.
whoremongers. Cause they ain't doing it for nothing. You're not doing it to get any money. You're doing it for a place to stay. You're doing you're
Mm,
doing it to get hey, I want to get you pregnant because I want you to stay with me. But then now you just create a baby mama situation where it's not healthy for neither one of you. But then
fact.
you upset with, the energy that you're getting out, but you got to understand the energy that you're putting in.
True.
Because the energy that you're putting in is exactly what you're going to get out of it, and it's going to be maximized. So you have to, be accountable for you. What's your opinion?
So my thing is, I think we need to set up a foundation. So
hmm
I think that what we first need to do is educate ourselves, meaning that we have to detox from everything that we know as far as history goes, and know
Mm-hmm.
our true history, right? And then
Right.
after that, the second thing we need to do is heal. Like we all collectively need to heal. So once we know our history and once we have healed, now we can start thinking about planning. And then once we plan and study, and then you have studied laws, you have studied about water systems, you have studied about, you know, herbal healings and food. And then now what we can do is actually implement a plan. And implementing the
Mm-hmm.
plan, that's when you come in hand, right? So we have somebody that already has that vision. But now that we have did the fundamental works of, like I said, knowing your history, knowing your knowledge, detoxing from everything that we ever known, now we have healed. Now we can look into the point of, okay, well, this is where we need to go to unify. And I agree with you wholeheartedly what you were saying. It's just like, but at the same time, it's like we need to get down to the fundamentals of what we need to do, because we have people in our group that's like frustrated. Like we talking all this talk, but where's the action? You know what I mean? But the action
So
starts with you.
okay, even if you show a person action, you can't. It goes in the saying, you can't lead a person, a horse, to drink water. That you can lead them to the well, but you can't force them to drink. Right?
Right.
Even if you're showing them action, they will say there's no action. Creating a group to start it is action. You
True.
know. So the
True.
action that they're looking for is, what can I benefit off right now? Right? And the thing about it is, if you're only looking at what can you benefit off it, you already came into the movement wrong, because you're only looking for self. And if everybody looked for self, where's the movement? It's
Where is
nothing.
the
You would just
movement?
have everybody trying to eat off each other, and then you have a whole bunch of predators. Why? Because they want to sit around and they want to take more than what they're giving. And
Yes.
that's where it became hectic in our community, because we didn't used to be like this. We didn't used to be like, you know, oh, a dollar is more important than a person's life.
Never.
A material object is more important, because if you notice, nowadays you don't hear the saying that we used to say when we grew up. It takes a village.
To
Hey,
child.
the neighbor down the street will beat you, and then you go home and get beat. Now you hear, you touch my kid, we're fighting. Well, your badass child broke my damn window.
Right.
Give me my money. Do you get what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
don't want to hear
Yeah.
that. You get what I mean? So we don't hold our children accountable no more. Now,
We
I'm not,
don't.
and when I say we, I'm always talking about the majority. We need to stop saying, "Well, I don't do that. I don't do it." Guess what? If we're the majority, it coming from somewhere. If everybody can't say, "I'm not doing that," because it's coming from somewhere. If
Exactly.
you have to be accountable
Hmm.
for the part that you're playing in our community failing. You know, what part that I used to play is, I used to be a comfort companion. I was never a hoe. I was a comfort companion. It was a trade.
You was a
Okay.
whoremonger.
No, 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 no. I was a comfort companion. It was a trade. They needed loving. Okay. And I needed fucking. All right. So loving and fucking went hand in hand. Boom, boom, boom. Comfort companion. But
Oh,
not. But I hurt so many people by doing that.
talk about
By
it.
I'm only there. I'm only there for your body and just the moment. I know I'm there for the moment. You know, and I didn't even. I can't say I cared, because you have to think about it to care.
That's
You get
true.
what I'm saying?
That's
I
true.
didn't think about your feelings. I only thought about what I was getting out of it. And it's not just men doing it, it's women doing this too.
It
You have
feels.
to care about the people that you're hurting,
Mm-hmm.
that they expecting something from you, and you already know that you're willing to give this little bit minimum, and you're not going above it. And that's destroying not only the black family, it's destroying these kids lives, it's destroying these women lives, it's destroying these men lives. And all we're doing as a whole is destroying our community. When we sit over here and we accept certain things, like you see these children out here acting wild and you don't do nothing, like, kick them niggas out of the community. If
Yeah.
their parents don't want to check them, kick their asses out of the community.
That's
We have to come under one standard and say, yo, this is what we accept
mm-hmm,
and this is what we're not going to accept. But
mm-hmm.
we do not have character in our community no more.
We don't.
And what I mean by character in our community is in individuals. Where's your character at? Where's your integrity?
Yeah,
It's cool to say, well, that's not cool. But then you standing over there, you ain't doing nothing. Just like how I tell people, I use the George Floyd incident. And I said, if that was me and he's standing on my neck, I don't want you to whip out your phone. Okay? I want you to come push this nigga off me.
period.
And some people will be like, well, I don't want to go to jail. But then take it as if that nigga was on your neck.
Yeah,
You still want to stand on that? You don't want to go to jail? Because you want to be like, yo, push this nigga off me. Everybody is going to say the same thing. Push this nigga off me. Right? But if you can say that for you, why can't you say that for the next person? That's called humanity. That's
yeah,
called saying, yo, I would take this risk for you. Because if you take this risk for me, then I would take this risk for you.
yeah.
But we don't take risks for each other no more.
We don't.
Because at the end of the day, it becomes, that's not my problem. I want to let them handle it. And then when it becomes your problem is, why ain't nobody helping me? Because you help nobody.
Mm,
Well, who have you stood up to? For anyone. When they was taking this woman's house, did you stand up for them?
mm-mm.
No, because your house wasn't being taken.
And it had
When
nothing to do with you.
Yes, and that's what we need to take out of our community. Because as long as we think like that and we think individualized,
We
they're
fail,
going to pick us off one by one, and we're always going to fail.
and
And
we.
that's why we fail and be at the bottom of the totem pole now.
So now that I'm hearing you correctly, I heard you mention the children, right? The education of our children. It starts with our children because that's the next generation from us, right? Is to ensure them of their education and help them in the healing of the little trauma that they may have been exposed to or major trauma. And then
Right,
on that, the moms who kids is around here shooting up the neighborhoods and stealing and breaking into houses, it's time to eject you from the community. And then if that does not work, we need to remove the mom from the community. And it's not that we want to turn it back. Well, I thought you guys said we need to work together, but you're not listening. In order for us to do better and to get better, we need to remove the cancer, cut off the cancer parts. And if you're not able to control your kid, and your kid is running havoc in this little neighborhood, and a neighborhood, it could just be 5, 6 houses on the street, right? And it
hmm
doesn't mean that you need a whole community or a different area. You can start right where you're at. A neighbor's
right,
watch. Remember back in the day, the neighbor watch? Like when neighbor watch was on,
hmm
people didn't do nothing in the neighborhood because you were scared. So we need to get
exactly,
back to that mentality, and piggybacking what you're saying is that moving forward, start small. It doesn't take a lot. If you know that a lady just lost her husband, she's a widow. Why is she struggling?
exactly.
Why is she struggling? Why isn't her rent paid? Why are you buying her groceries? That's not my problem. That had nothing to do with me. But when you're in a situation where your water get cut off,
You
when you
want
want
people
the
to help
community
out.
to help you, and it's not about what it is your problem. And see, that's where we fell as a people, because white people feel like white person issue is their issue. That's why they quick to come
hmm
up with a GoFundMe and bail them out of jail. You know what I mean?
hmm
Or they either give them a lawyer or they bind their property, and then when they get out of prison, they give them back the house. They
Right.
function in that mentality. We work they got it from us. So it's just like that's what we're from. So it's just like we need to get back to that. And it's not hard. And like I said, we may not have a big community until we get into our community, right? Start on
hmm
your street. That's your community. So when you start when and then only that, when you start operating that way and they see that you got each other's back, people is gonna grab on. And not to keep going on, but guess who does that? The town that David Chappelle lives in, I think it's
hmm
Springfield, they do that for each other. If they having hardship, guess what? They all put together. Not Dave Chappelle just coming off because we know he got it. No, they all do it as a community. They have a
And if you
general
do it as
account.
right,
Exactly. They
if you
drop
do
from
it as a
produce. They do.
community, it takes away the full amount on everybody's shoulders and everybody wins. And people don't think about that.
Exactly.
To dumb it down, right? And for people that don't comprehend what we're saying is
Okay.
take it as you have a partner, right? And your partner, whether it's male or female, have
Mm-hmm.
a child.
Mm-hmm.
So in turn, this child is a term I don't use. I don't use stepchild. I use that's my child.
That's my
Period.
child, right?
So so what I do is if this child is bad as hell, right?
Most likely.
Right?
Go
I
ahead.
gotta look at the mother. I got me as a man, I have to look at the mother. As a woman, you need to look at the father. So whoever that you're dating, that's who you need to look at, right?
Right.
Because if this child bad as hell, right? So I'm like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go fix this child.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if every time I'm going to fix this child, and the other custodial, the other parent, who's the actual parent, comes in and disturb me trying to fix this child, then that means I need to fix the parent first, then fix the child. And then if the parent don't want to be fixed, and they go and they hit that with I'm the reason why this child act like this. Cool. Then I need to get rid of both y'all asses because you're not going to be disturbing my peace, because it's clear that you can't do it or you won't do it, but you won't allow anybody else to do it either. So in turn, that both y'all need to leave our community, and you need to go do that elsewhere. You get what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you don't want the community to help you with this child. You
But
want
you
this
want the
child to
community's
be,
resources, though.
but right. You want to eat off the community, but you taking away from the community, but you don't want to add to the community.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem with our people now. What we have became, and we can blame, oh, it's white people, oh, they did this, they did that.
No.
Guess what? It's not about what people do to you. It's
Right.
about how you answer and what you keep. We kept all that bull crap. We keep that, oh, I could do battle by myself. We keep, no, I'm not going to respect my man. We keep, no, I'm not going to respect my woman. We keep, fuck those kids. They actually made popular, fuck those kids. Like, we keep everything negative in our community and get out all the positive things because why? Fear, lack of education. You going in schools, they telling you that you need to stand up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they telling you their history. That's
Uh-huh.
really not their history. What
Right.
they do is they look at a black man or a woman and they smack some white paint on her and say this is that, and you believe it because you don't read. Or if you want to read a smut book over an educational book. These are setups that we
A
do,
slut
but
book?
a smut book.
Oh, sorry.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
Yes, I
this
do.
is what we do. We
Basically.
rather read about sex and fucking than
Right.
something that says, hey, you've been brainwashed because this is a true history. No, that's not true. This and that. We don't do that. And that's
Mhm.
why we don't sit up there and we don't riot and we don't try to stop them when they burn our books to talk about our history. We just like to say, we don't know our history. But we don't try to stop. We don't try to sit up there and say, yo, nah, we need to go search our history. Let's all get it together. Think
Let's
about it.
together.
Think about this one thing. How many families nowadays still do albums, photo albums? That little bit of effort, right? It tells you who people are. And
Exactly.
every time you went over your grandma's house, your mother's house, or whatever, they showed you your uncle. This is your family tree. Those album books. But then you get away from the album books. You just keeping photos in your phone, and you're not saying, "Hey, this is your cousin. This is your great aunt." So you're not passing down history. And then guess what? Your kids are only going to know the people that surround themselves. They're not
That's
going to know
true.
anybody else. This is why they teach you, hey, any movie in history, they act like black people didn't exist, right? But and we accept that. We watch those movies. I don't watch them. You know, I don't watch movies that sit over here and say, "Oh, you know, if it's a black man, he can't protect his family."
Right.
But you get what I'm saying? I don't watch those movies. I don't
Or a
support
white
them.
only a white woman can love the black man past his trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a white man can only love a, and protect this black woman. Like, dude, y'all support those movies, and
Mm-hmm.
y'all see it getting more and more of them, but you acting like it's not existing, and they act like black couples, Royal Ebony couples, don't exist. And I'm like, yo,
But
this is what y'all want to live in.
it's a
This is
propaganda.
the stay in it, right. So my thing about it is, they say, how do we change that?
Mm-hmm.
What we do is stop supporting it with our money. And what we do is we start sitting over here. If we either support the people that push our narrative, or we create it and push it. We
Mm-hmm.
are intelligent.
Yes, we are.
We are enough to sit over here and to create something, because we create everything, even though it gets taken away from us.
You said something there, and and I love what you said, that let's create it then push it, because we have a lot of writers. We
Mm,
have a lot of, and another thing is too, we need to unplug from the platforms that's not made by us for us. Can somebody tell me why I haven't seen a white man in a commercial in over a year? I've forgotten
right.
what they look like.
A white man in a commercial in a year.
Can somebody tell me why I haven't seen a white man in any commercial in over a year?
Just in the Super Bowl, there was three commercials where there's a white man in there.
Yeah, I'm confused. Okay,
Yeah,
L. Okay, so um what you were saying was that we need to create that scenario. So my thing is that we have too many people that are screenwriters, that are playwriters, and then and then not so much that we need our own platform, but you know what, we did underground work before. When we got
right,
denied to be able to work music, we created our own music. We pushed it
right,
in the streets. A lot of them was popping their trunks selling their music. Really, the underground came so popular that these record labels actually looked for the people to put them on. So we need to get back to that mentality again.
right. I feel you. And one thing about it is, and this is what I don't get, is we sit over here and we like to tell each other that there's not, like, they be like, oh, you're conspiracy theorists. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
so this stuff is happening like right around you. You get what I'm saying? Like, I am. He said we racist. Let me tell you one thing, right? It's not about race being racist. It's when you're being oppressed about something, and you're being pushed down, right? We're saying, hey, we're being pushed down. That's not being racist. Being racist is saying, hey, I'm upset that that black woman is dating a white man. No, we're saying we're upset that they're pushing a narrative. Not, they're acting like there's no good black couples.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so because if we had the storyline of black couples in relationships and things of that nature, we wouldn't be talking about this. We had nothing to talk about, because you're not only pushing us, you're
Mm-hmm.
pushing you. You're not only pushing you, you pushing us too. But they don't push happy relationships. So this is what give us something to talk about. To
And
say, hey, we need to push this, because they're not going to push this. So it's not racist, because look, everything is white. Santa Claus white. Okay, they put Jesus as white. They put the Easter Bunny as a white. You get what I mean? Hell, Humpty Dumpty is white. Everything is white, Caucasian. And you telling me racist? Please.
here,
Please.
here's another thing too. Anything that's supporting us, or us saying that we need to uplift and unify us, all of a sudden we're listed as a racist. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And actually, it's not that at all, because you guys have free reign, assuming that you're white, have free reign to uplift and to embody each other. We don't have that type of unifying. And
Because
when
once
you
we
do,
start,
and then when you do have leaders that's able to do that, they're murdered. If we do
right.
build our own cities, they're under tons and tons of water, or our kids are taken from us and feeding to
I have
alligators.
a
It's not
question.
the fact that we're racist, it's just the fact that we want to exhort. our
I
own,
have a
to
question.
build our
I
own.
have a I have a question. I know he's not here no more, but this is a point that him and people that think like him need to understand, right?
Hmm.
So the KKK been around for centuries,
Yes, they
right?
have. Yes, they have.
So the Black Panthers only been around a few years.
That's
Tell
true.
me why they was public enemy number one. But KKK have never been public enemy number
And
one.
they're terrorists. They will
No,
go. Yeah,
no. And they would literally say, we're going to kill people. Black
yeah.
Panthers didn't. They said they're going to protect. That, but KKK say they're going to kill people and was never public enemy and still not. They you would never hear any president or no one talk about the KKK. You would
As,
never. We still haven't got a lynching law, and you're trying to tell me racist? But
yes.
we're dying. We're literally dying. And everybody act like that is normal, but yet some people can fix their mouth because we're talking about uplifting our people that are dying. We're racist. We're talking about coming together and being in a community because I'm going to be honest with you. Other than our people, let me tell me when you seen a daggone white or Indian or Chinese kid get gunned down by a police officer in any country. Tell me when you see their kids get in handcuffs. No, they will just put their kids, when their kids can kill people, and they'll just put them in the backs of the car. They handcuff our kids. They throw our kids down to the ground. They do
As young
things
as
to
5 years
our
old.
children.
Hmm.
Right. Do things to our children that they don't do to no other race, but you calling us racist.
But see, that's why I'm not moved by this comment, because it's ignorant within itself. You know what I mean?
Eh,
First of all, we cannot be racist. For one. For two, it's like, you made a point when you already know that you guys consider you guys the majority. Everything is wrapped around you guys. You guys have always benefited off of the white privilege, the the leaders to be, and you guys found from that. You guys funded from that. You guys benefited from that. So therefore, when something like this pops up, and it's funny to me because yet and still you still find a reason to be right and you're wrong. So to me, it's like it's funny. You know what I mean? So your comment was, and I'm reading your comment, and I was just like, what? And that's funny to me because you still want to try to find a reason to be justified in your wrong. So I
I'm
feel
like,
sorry for you. I feel
I'm
exactly
like,
sorry for you because
I'm
at the
like,
end
he
of the
said
day,
there's not a, when the last time there was a white man in a commercial? I see him all the time. Like, all the
but see,
time.
that's your way to try to bait us into a conversation. That's your way to try to
Exactly.
bait
I'm
us
like,
into an
that don't
argument.
make it, that
And
don't
what
make
we're not going to
sense.
do, we're not going to allow him to drag us off what we were talking about in the beginning,
Nah,
because that's just
it's all
ignorance
right.
in itself. That's ignorant. And then at the end of the day, like I said, your privilege thought it was okay for you to come on this this live to make that comment, just like that. It's just
I
like
guess he thought we wasn't going to answer it.
that's what I was
That's
like. I
what it is.
kept reading and I was like, wait a minute. And then, like
He
I said,
said,
but what we're not going to do is give it energy. At the end of the
no.
day, you can say what you
Mm,
want to say. You can feel how you want to feel. If that's your privilege, that's funny. Because when the last time you seen a black man in a commercial? When the last time that
mm.
you see a black man
Hold
get
on.
on a
No,
white
no, no,
woman?
no, 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 no. You have to say this. When the last time you seen a black man and a black woman
Together?
together in a commercial in a loving standard? Oh, you don't
Exactly.
see that. You always see a black man with a white woman, or Asian or something like that, or you see a black woman with a white man, and that's the only time you see them happy. Anytime you see a black woman and her family, she have kids and not a damn
A
husband.
father.
So
Exactly.
so come on, we can make this. I'm with the energy. Okay, I'm with the energy. I'll follow you up because
But I'm not.
I'll school you.
We got
I'll
so
school
much.
you every day until you get it. My thing about it is, it's so sad. And any point in history, you see us as Royal
Mhm.
Ebony people can live in peace with everyone. But in history, Caucasians, and I went there with the capital S, wherever you go, you can't live with no one without violence.
And
Come
that's
on, dude.
true.
I, I,
That's that
I do
colonized
this.
train of thought. That's colonized train of thought. But we're not going to allow this negative energy pull us away from our message today.
Okay. I can go, hey, boo, boo.
No. He's not
Hey,
working.
boo, boo.
And
Hey,
and
boo,
here's
boo.
and this
We
is the
can do
fun part about
facts. No, you said
comments
what?
like this shows you their intelligence level. Like it's just
Yeah.
you took that because
But
now
I'm
he feel
glad.
like he did.
Listen,
He feel like he
no, no, no.
I want him
Nah,
to
I'm
let people
glad. I'm
say.
actually glad he left the comments because at the end of the day, guess what? All you're doing is proving our point.
There it
Yeah.
is.
So, all right, back on topic. Okay.
Okay. So what
So,
I was saying was before we was rudely interrupted.
period. Period.
Period,
No.
bitch. No, don't say that because now they'll take that and then make like
Mm,
memes off of it on TikTok.
yeah.
So let's not do that.
Period. Well, period.
So,
We ain't do it. Period. Oh, period. Boo boo. Period. Boo boo.
but
Take
we
that to your
too.
mama house.
Oh
Bang
Lord.
her ass on the couch. No, go ahead.
But I like I said, I just think that when we come to the conclusion that we need each other, and this is a prime example here, they're too comfortable with infiltrating our camp without no consequences, right? It's too much of a comfortability. And thank you, L, even though you thought you did something, but thank you for proving a point. This is why we need to stick together. Nobody should be
Right.
able to get on the camp without being penalized for it. Like we can't go into their situation without. We can't even go in certain neighborhoods without getting killed. Did you hear about the FedEx driver
Yeah.
trying to deliver? He was doing his job. They literally hunt him down, shot at him. Literally,
Hmm.
his job suspended him. His
Yeah.
job, even though they
Because
took
they don't care about you.
him. That's my
Yeah. They don't
point.
care about you.
This is why
They'll
we
act
need to
like
get
they
over the
care.
retardedness.
Yeah. They act like they care. My thing about it is just like what you said. We, as a people, and and I wanna go as far as saying it's our fault. It's our fault. The
Absolutely.
reason why, the reason why it's our fault is because we got so comfortable being at their table to say, give me more, rather than to stand up and say, I'm gonna go chop down some trees and I'm gonna build my own table, right, for us, and we're gonna be able to be like, we can eat until we're full. You get what I mean? So what I
Mm-hmm.
mean by that is I want to break it all down. So we would create a social media site. But what that site would be about? Sex and relationships. It would be end up as being a dating site or a hookup site that we think we can make money on. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But we don't never create a site like, oh, we're doing Facebook, social media site where we can actually talk to each other and not be governed to be like, hey, they're going to take down our video because we said black community or come together, or there are key words to take you down because you're building something and they think that's threatening, and it's not.
It's
That's the
certain.
the whole thing about building us is to get us from your table and to be stronger in peace. But they take that as, we don't want you there. We're comfortable where you are. And
Mm-hmm.
in our words, well, in our actions, we're like, we're not comfortable, but this is what we have to do. And it's not what you have to do. You don't have to stay on no job that you barely making it on. You get what I'm saying? And you sitting up there, this is what I got to do. Dude, the only thing you can pay is your damn cell phone bill and eat. You can barely pay your food. Why are you staying at that job?
That is true. That is true
You
because
know,
we have been conditioned to think that we have to work hard.
no. Not if you come together. If
That
you
is
came together and you get out of their matrix of being, hey, I want to buy this, I want to buy that, I want to buy this, all that bullcrap that don't mean nothing. Yo, just think about it. Think about all the stuff that you really wanted the last 3 years, and then when you got it, you don't even use anymore.
true.
Stop, get out of that matrix, and
Mm-hmm.
you will be fine. Get out of the matrix of being a consumer.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody ain't meant to be an owner, but guess what? You need to get out of being a slave. You're a slave to the products that you buy. You're a slave to going to school, because a lot of us, we go to these schools, right? And we don't do research in what we're trying to get our degrees in, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
once we get our degrees, we go work and be at Lowe's or something And then be like, yo, I thought you got your degree. Oh, I did, but they ain't got no room. They oversaturated. So why didn't you look that up before you went to school for that? Do your
Right.
education on it and
Right.
say, yo, what's the chances of me actually getting a job? And stop listening to these people that's trying to recruit you to pay to be a predator to you so you can pay money for something that you can't use. You get what I mean? Like, stop buying a whole bunch of tennis shoes and thinking that that is success. It's not. Just because you got them neatly stacked in a bin is not success. Success is saying, I built something, I have something, and I can give to my kids and grandkids. It's
Mm-hmm.
not saying I got all this worthless stuff that's just for me, and I don't have anything to give to my kids.
Mm-hmm.
My kids gonna have to struggle because I struggle, but it ain't supposed to be like that. Why did we adapt the whole thing of when our children turn 18 that we got to kick them out of the house? That's bonkers to me, especially when they're not ready.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I sit up there and tell my kids, yo, you can stay here, but you ain't gonna be no lazy bum. You
Right.
know, I'm not
Right.
going to say, yo, you got to go to school or you got to go out and get a job. But what I am going to tell you is figure out what is you and what makes you happy in your life, and you go try to make money from that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it works. And then, when they go out and they try and they fail, they can come back home. But the problem is we either kick our kids out before it's too early, when it's too early, or we keep our kids at home and never let them try.
That's true.
So and it's like, yo, we have to be better as parents. We have to be better as partners in our community. We have to be better as children. Why do we now, when we have elder people, we're cursing in front of them? We listening to raunchy music or whatever. We don't have that respect anymore for not only our elders. We don't have that respect for our children because
Mm-hmm.
we listen. We have I've seen videos on social media where women would have their little 2 year olds, 3 year olds, 4 year olds twerking, right? Twerking was before the African dance, and it was a dance. Once it got westernized, Americanized, it's sexual. So once
Mm-hmm.
something became sexual, you can't go back to saying, "Oh, this is the African." No, it's sexual. And
Now
then
it is.
what you're doing is now your 5 year old growing up to be a 10 year old and she's still twerking and whatever. Now you got a pedophile looking at her, and now boom, she got raped or molested because he probably in your family or he around your family or whatever. And it's not just the men that be pedophiles because the women are pedophiles too. Hell, I was 14 and I had sex with my teacher. I thought I was the coolest person in the world, but that's called being molested
True.
because an adult person is not supposed to have any feelings or physical contact with a child because that's not right. They will fuck that child up for the rest of their life.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to stop being predators on each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to stop putting our children and ourselves in situations to be preyed on.
That's true. That's true. That's true. And it's sad about it is that it's been happening like that for centuries though. You know what I mean? So it's twerking this decade, but what was it last decade? You know what I mean? So it
Mm,
but once again, it comes with the re-education of our women on raising our children. It's a
you're
re-education
right.
question. And not only that, to redirect that energy. Because yeah, it was a tribal thing. Twerking was a tribal thing. And they just showed a video of that on social media actually.
Mm-hmm.
Um and then we oversexed it. We just talked about that yesterday. We oversexualized
Mm-hmm.
something that was meant to be cultural. But
Right.
where we go from there, especially when it comes to our daughters, we need to re-educate ourselves first, then re-educate our children. And then this is when we used to go to church and those church mothers used to put them little kids in. We don't have that no more. You
No,
can't trust
we
them going
don't.
to church anymore.
We
So
don't have the big mamas no more.
we don't have with the arm that make the
We don't have it. We
we don't
took
have
everything positive that kept. And what I tell people is stop saying that you're not going to raise your kids like your parents raised you, because you're really saying in that breath that your parents did a terrible job with you. And you can't say, well, no, my parents did a good job with me. It's just some things I didn't like. But whatever they did with you, now remember, I get it. Some parents ain't shit, they go overboard. But my
That,
thing about it is at the end of the day, some things they did because they loved you. If you always got your ass whooping, maybe you was a badass kid that didn't learn. A hard head make a soft ass. That's where
that's
that
true.
statement come from.
That's true.
But you can't sit over here and be like, I'm 12, I'm 14, I'm 16, I can do what I want to do, and you don't pay no bills. That ain't your house. You still asking for money, and you asking them to take you places. But at the end of the day, you sitting up here and being like, well, I could do what I want. No, I don't care if you're a grown ass man or a woman. If you at your mama house, you can't do what you want.
Can't do.
The only time you can do what you want is when you out and got your own. That's when you can do what you want. If you still asking people for rides, if you still staying with your parents, yo, put your head down, do what you got to do because that's that person's house and respect their house. Respect that, and that's what it comes to. Respect your children,
Mm-hmm.
respect your elders. Stop getting in this whole entitlement of I want to be with you, but I want to do what the hell I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to stop that in our community because it's ruining us.
Mm-hmm.
It's ruining us as a people. Because now look at us. We don't even know who we can trust. We don't even trust ourselves sometimes.
That's
And that's
true.
the sad thing. Hmm.
That's true. But all that to say now, where do we start from now? And I think too, for in order to change to come, we have to start small. I can't worry about the mass. I can only worry about my children, my household. Then the children that I'm in contact with, whether it be nieces, cousins, neighbors' kids, best friends' kids, and it spreads. You know what I mean?
Right,
I think that we concentrate too much on the issue. We already know it's an issue. It has been a issue for decades,
right.
and everybody's like, "Well, what's the plan?" The plan is you start small. You start with your
Hmm.
household. I believe Terry from our page, Ataraxis, was just like, you start within your household.
Right,
Yeah, you start with it, but see, you got to educate yourself first, though,
right.
because you got to be able to put something in the children. Our concentration need to be on the children, our children.
Hmm.
Because believe me, they're already training their kids. If you look at it,
Hmm.
you're where you're at. They train their kids young. Their kids are
Right,
learning to use a violin. Some of them are
right.
coding math at the age of 3. It's
I
all
always
about
tell
where
people it's building ammo up for your child to live a life when you're
we're.
teaching them piano, when you're teaching them music instruments, or when you're training them and
Mhm,
saying, hey, this is how you train mentally on, stocks and bonds. This is how you sit over here and you can save money,
mhm,
right? This is
mhm.
how you break it down. Let's say you made $500. In our community, we think $500, we got $500 to blow, right?
Yes.
After taxes. No, it's basically you save 250. Now you got 250 left, right? And then what you do is you use the $200 for you use $100 for bills, and then you use $100 for just like if you want a vacation or whatever, and then you have $50 to spend. That's it. But we
That,
don't want to make that sacrifice because that's not fun for us. But
mhm,
it's not fun for you to be in like asking people for help to pay your bills. That's not fun. It's
mhm.
not fun for you to sit over here and say, "Hey, all right, I need food in my house. I need gas in my car." And now you don't have it because you wanted to buy those new Jordans, or you wanted that purse that ain't going to do nothing for you. You get what I'm saying? Or you want to sit up there. Let's
I
take it
hate
back
that.
with the mothers that want their kids to have everything under the sun. Sometimes you got to say, "Yo, I can't get that for you, baby. We got to do it right." Now
Mhm,
I can make sure that you're good, but I'm not going to just be throwing money at you because I want you to have everything. A spoiled child will grow up and to resent everyone because they feel entitled.
mhm,
You get what I'm saying? Just
mhm.
don't do that. We have to, where we go on for now is just like we build Ataraxis, right?
Mm.
Ataraxis is about building a community, and every now and then you get those people. What is it? What does it mean? Look it up. Google. It's easy. It's easy to Google things. Stop asking people what does it mean and just look it up. Do the work. And when you sit over here and then somebody say, "Hey, let's do this," right? It's cool to come with an issue because issues create things to say things to change. But if you can't find a solution for your issue, don't come with the issue because you're just coming with an issue. Look at anything that our people done in history, right?
Mm.
When we try to build people together, what happened? We've been brought down by our people. Why? Because those people do not want to do the work. It's more easier to tear you down to do the work to build everyone up. Because at the end of the day, we're comfortable.
Yeah.
We're comfortable being oppressed. We're comfortable doing without. We're comfortable with our children and men and women getting shot and abused. We're comfortable because look at it. Everybody look at it as it's the normal thing to do.
Mm.
Oh, it's not going to solve anything. They're just going to boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, yeah. So when you're building something like this, you need to build without those people. Because those people will come into something, you can give them everything and they still kill you or still try to destroy your thing because why? They're only concerned about themselves. And at that point, that's the same people that will come up and be like, somebody say, "Hey, give me all the information about Ataraxis so we can take it apart." Oh, sure. You gonna give me what? $25,000? Fuck them and their kids. It's about
Right.
me. You know what I mean? And then they want to come to you and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
I'm
You
sorry.
get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's just it amazes me all the time when you have that thing of that the entitlement movement. When they sit over here and they say, "Yo, this is what we need to do." I'm tired of these people. At the end of the day, when we want to be a culture, when we actually want to thrive and to stop being oppressed, and we want to say, hey, we can, and not doing like Tyler Perry, and we happy that you have a studio, but yet you putting out the same mess. You putting out the same garbage that our people really is not. So at the end of the day, my thing about it is start putting out when we have happy homes. You know what I mean? Like faithful men, because there are faithful men out there, faithful black men. There are faithful black women out there. Everybody don't live in these toxic relationships where we don't respect each other. Everybody don't live in these toxic relationships where, we don't respect our kids and it's only about us. These are things that we need to sit up here and hold ourselves accountable for and say, you know what? We will not allow this or that narrative or perspective to keep going because at the end of the day, we are responsible for our community. Not one person, not whoever you choose as a leader. It's us as what we do and what we accept. Because at the end of the day, we have to be accountable for that because this is our history. This is our history and our children's history. This is something that we have to be like, yo, if we really going to push Black power, then we have to push the unification of Black power. We can't sit over here and say, all right, well, I want to do this. It's cool. You want to do it. But it should all be under one umbrella. You should be able to do something that someone else is doing. If it's cool, if you want to go buy land, that's cool. But you should be able to still coexist with everybody else that's buying land. You should, if you want to do a a Royal Ebony business with everybody else, a Nubian business with everybody else, cool. You should be able to do it and coexist with everybody else that's doing the Nubian business. Because at the end of the day, until we all unify and come together and can be in the same space and grow, and we're still going to always be on the bottom. We're still going to have the Ukraine thing and be like, oh, that's messed up. That they ain't they treat you that way because you don't unify. They always treat us that way because we don't unify. We always thinking as individuals. We're always thinking as if our lives matter more than the collective, and it doesn't, because we're royalty. We're royalty and royal people. So we have to go ahead and we need to make sure that we know that we live that, our actions live that day by day, every day. Just like this knucklehead talk about we racist. We can't be racist because we're not talking about belittling or down talking any other race. We're just talking about uplifting our people because our people is always impressed in everything that we do. Music. We started rap, right? What did they do? They took it over, and now they got everything being um, either gay or murder or disrespectful. It's no, and then they got rid of all the uplifting rap. That's called oppression, and that's things that we allow because we need to stop allowing that. And like I said, it's not going after one narrative or one particular person. It's going after ourselves to say what we can do to be better people. What can we do to be a better individual for not only our communities, but for our children and for our ancestors and all those that came before us that never thought about, hey, living a legacy, generational wealth. Never thought about living in peace. You get what I'm saying? Well, a lot of us don't have peace. We live in trauma. We live in turmoil. We live in fear. Aren't you tired of living at that? Aren't you tired of waking up and being druggy and being like, I gotta go somewhere where people don't like me just to get enough money to struggle? We can come together and we can live in a life where there's no trauma. People around you is not trying to kill you. People around you is not trying to hurt you or belittle you or take from you. People around you trying to give to you, uplift you. This is a world that we can create, and we can create this together. This ain't got nothing to do with no other race. This ain't got nothing to do with hurting nobody. We just want to be able to do what we came to do, because at the end of the day, we want to be able to give back to our children. We want to be able to give back to the people that surrounding us. And we want to be able to say, yo, we can truly live in a world of peace because we have our own. It's not being taken away from us. We have our own network, just like everybody have their own. Our people is the only people that don't have a network. Nowhere in the world does we have a network. And what is a network? Before anybody say, oh, yes, we do have a network. A network is something that goes from country to country to country. And it's a standard that we sit over here and we give back to ourselves. That's what we don't have. And we have to put that back in. Because at the end of the day, if we don't, we're just not going to have it. We have to get back to ourselves.
Right.
Hello. Hello.
And you was dropping nuggets. Like you right. We do have to get back to ourselves. And unfortunately it's sad that when you express uplifting your people, how they take it as a racist. But no, it doesn't display our races. It displays your insensitivity to our situation. And this is
Right.
nothing new. It's just something that has been happening for throughout time. And I get to the point where it's like I'm tired of explaining where we stand, because you're very clear on what we stand and you're very clear what happened to us. But on the other note of that, I think you dropped some awesome nuggets on what is it that we need to do. So therefore, we should never hear it again. What is it that we need to do?
Right.
We already told you. And a matter of fact, why do we have to keep telling you this? It's evident. All you got to do is look around. You see what it needs to be do. You know what needs to be done. It's time to do it.
Right.
At the end of the day, and the aggression. And then here's my thing: if you're going to be scared of going to jail, possibly getting shot at, possibly getting killed, this is not for you. You stay in that little box they want you in, because as long as they can control you, they're going to control your narrative.
But can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
Aren't we going to jail, getting shot at, Ain't that happening already? So what you scared of? Like, it's happening to you. It's not. It's happening to you. Every time you see a cop, even if they behind you or not, you get scared to life. Like your life like flash in front of your eyes. That's
Exactly.
not that's not healthy. I
It's
don't know who
not.
needs to tell you that. That is unhealthy. You get what I mean? I've been out of the country for a few years now. I did never had a problem with a cop. I see cops and I'm happy to see them because why? They don't bother people. They don't live under a quota to say I got to disturb people in order to keep my job. Anybody that live under a quota is not doing it to protect and serve. They're doing it to keep a standard, right? And whoever standard gave them that quota, that's what they're doing. And look at any state in the United States, right? And sometimes you can look in Canada too. But guess what? They got a quota. They got
Yeah.
a quota. They need to get a certain amount of tickets. They need to arrest a certain amount of people, even though it's false, and they don't care.
Hmm.
So don't tell me about they protect and serve all the blue and blue. Guess what? Blue stick together, even when they lying. I don't care if they black, white, or whatever race. They stick together even when they're lying. And you know what that's called? That's called a gang. If you don't realize that's called a gang, that's what it is. And they're proud to say that they're a gang. But you want to know what's funny? Is when you build a gang, you're wrong for building a gang.
Oh yeah, you're
When
dangerous.
you build something, huh?
You're
You said
dangerous.
what?
You're
You're
dangerous.
dangerous. You can call it whatever. You can say, hey, we're coming together as a community. They call you a gang.
Yeah.
But they'll come attack you and you haven't attacked anybody. You are prosecuted because you came together.
Hmm.
Look at it. Public enemy number one was Marcus Garvey. Why? Because he was bringing people together. But he public enemy number one.
Because
Oh,
the fear of us coming together. That's what it is. Because they know it's coming, and it is eventually going to happen. So
exactly.
they're in fear, and they know the outcome of that fear, especially when we all start waking up and knowing the truth about ourselves.
Exactly. But the thing about it is, it's called integrity. So this guy L whatever, right? And this is the funny thing. I guarantee he won't speak on that. On hey, why do they always oppress y'all people for no apparent reason? Why do they always put y'all as public enemy number one when you're actually doing things as positive? You get what I mean? But yet there's a whole bunch of other races that's doing a whole bunch of negativity and they're not even talked about on the news. It's called perspective and pushing a narrative. And the
Correct.
narrative is they want you to be, this is why on Black History Month, right? They always play slave movies. Or they play toxic drama movies. They don't never play anything that's uplifting, that encourage people. Matter of fact, you want to know what is that movie? What is that movie? American what? American. What is that movie? That was a good movie about a dude and
He was a
um,
skinhead.
huh?
Was he a skinhead?
No.
Oh, okay.
Uh.
I'm thinking of something else.
So it was about a black man and he used to serve and him and his serving buddies actually went into the bank and everything like that. They killed him at the end of the movie. But it wasn't an American flag. It was American something. But that was a good movie. Like if you want to play that movie because that man has standards. And he didn't do it to harass nobody. He did it because he was tired, right? And he wanted
Mm-hmm.
change. But you don't play that because that would drive the people to uplift the bullcrap. You play things to suppress them, to keep in their minds, hey, you a slave. Hey, no, you don't love your man. You could do bad without him. You could do better without him. You get what I'm saying? So that's what it is. You don't love your woman. You know what I mean? All these hoes out here. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what they push. And the
Yeah.
thing about it is you need to get out of the rat, off the wheel. Get off the wheel and start educating yourself and build with people that really wants to build. Get out of stop being in trauma. Stop being in struggle.
Stop being in trauma. Stop being
You get
controlled.
what I mean? You
Yes.
gotta let that go and build with people that want to build because that's the only way to rise. We have to be unified.
Have to.
Unified under and say, yo, I don't know you. Stop saying that thing, you don't know me. Guess what? And you know, when people tell me, oh, you don't know me, you know what I tell them? I do know that you had a lot of trauma in your life. I do know that you're being oppressed. I do know that you're going through this. These are things I know. So I know you. I might not know you as a pure individual, but I know enough to say, sister, you are loved. Brother, you are loved and valued. Do you get what I'm saying? I know enough to tell you I see you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's all that it is. I see you and I value you. But until we can be like strong enough to go to our Nubian strangers and say, I value you, I see you, I'm
Mm-hmm.
here for you.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to always be weak people. Why? Because guess what? No matter how much muscle you have, if you weak up here, you already lost the war.
Already. So true.
But that's my final. But go ahead, you can go.
My final is this: you cannot continue to live in fear. You cannot continue to not move because you're trying to play safe. Because at the end of the day, you're still not safe. The key thing is we're unifying not to cause harm to any other race. We're unifying to uplift our race because we're tired. Our key components are our children, your children's children. That's what our focus needs to be on. We need to re-educate. You need to learn your history. You need to heal from your past pains and your ancestral pains. You need to come up with a plan, and that plan is only to build your community and implement it. Just that simple.
Right. Oh, I got one more final thought, and I'm done. Okay. The last final thought is El Jefe. Okay. This is for you. Okay. This is for you, my brother. Okay. We're not racist.
Mm-mm.
We're just trying to stand up from oppressed places. Okay. And I'm gone.
Good job.